So Plane is a brand new movie that stars Gerard Butler and Mike Coulter. And in this movie, a pilot played by Gerard Butler has to fly people, and he is escorting a passenger who happens to be a prisoner played by Mike Coulter. And when the plane crashes during a storm, they wind up stuck in this area that's filled with armed militia members who will kill them. And now Gerard Butler and Mike Coulter must work together and try to find a way out, try to free the passengers, and maybe just, save the day. So this was a movie I was not looking forward to. It's a January movie. I know I'm reviewing this in February, but I'm lazy. And it just didn't look great. The trailer looked terrible. I'm not a fan of Gerard Butler action movies. I feel like a lot of them are just kind of too similar. He's not nearly as bad as Liam Neeson, but I still don't find a lot of his movies interesting. Also, like, the trailer didn't look good. I just thought it was going to be the most boring, generic movie ever. Even the title pissed me off. It's literally Plane. I know it's not the right spelling, but it looked plain as in Plain to me. It just looked bad. It just looked unwatchable. It looked like a movie that I would find on Netflix, like straight to streaming. Like, it looked awful. So this movie is not terrible. I didn't think it was great, but I didn't think it was terrible. So what works? Mainly the action scenes are pretty good. There's this fight between Gerard Butler and one of the militia members who is in the scene takes place in one take, and I thought that was really well done. It was kind of fun, and again, sucker for long takes. And the third act, when it becomes a bloodbath and it's just nonstop action, that's when I thought the movie really picked up for me. And the performances, for the most part, are fine. They're not like anything that's like, I didn't expect Oscar caliber performances from this movie, but the performances for what they were fine. Gerard Butler did a good job. Mike Coulter, I thought, did a good job. I thought they worked together pretty well. Tony Goldwyn is the only one outside of them that I thought did a good job as this guy who's like trying to listen in on what's going on. I thought he did a really good job. He delivered a lot of his lines pretty well, which are not really great, but again, that's into my negatives, which I feel like the script is just not very good. Like, the dialogue in particular is not very good, but again, I'm not really expecting that with a movie like this. I'm not expecting, a best screenplay nomination for Plane anytime soon, but at times some of the actors do make it work. Also, the passengers I didn't really care for. That was kind of like my big problem with a movie like Violent Night. I didn't really care for any of the passengers in this movie, like they were trying to save. Like, they're kind of rude, obnoxious, but I didn't think they were that interesting or that likable. And I don't know if they were trying to make a commentary about how, a lot of people just take services like this for granted, like people who, fly every day or people who serve other people every day. That's been done better in the menu, but I don't know. I just didn't care for them. And also, there's a lot of pacing issues. Again, I think the third act is where this movie really excels. The first two acts don't really help. And I think only when the action scenes are actually happening, that's when the movie actually picked up for me. Like, when I was getting into the action scenes, yeah, I was into the movie. When they're talking, no. And then I also feel like it's not as fun as it should be. Like, I feel like a movie like this should at least try to be maybe a little self-aware of what they were trying to go for. It seemed like a movie it never really cracks a joke. I feel like this is a movie that really would have been a lot better if every once in a while they would have cracked a joke, and they kind of just play it seriously for the most part. And I also feel like the other subplots kind of detract from the rest of the movie. Like, there's this a minor subplot involving Gerard Butler's daughter. She's rarely cut back to. Tony Goldwyn's subplot is only fun just for Tony Goldwyn, and it just didn't work. Also, it's not really a spoiler, but I'm curious as to what happened at the end with one of the characters. If you've seen the movie, you kind of know what I'm talking about. And I just don't I don't know what they were planning. Was it supposed to be a sequel? Because, like, how are you going to do a sequel with that? It just kind of made me go, why did you end it that way? And I just kind of got annoyed with it. So, Plane is not nearly as bad as I was fearing, but I also feel like it could have been a lot better too. Maybe because I was just hearing a little bit about people saying, oh, this movie's actually a lot of fun and this is a great time. And maybe I kind of went in with that expectation, and maybe my actual thoughts on it are a little bit more disappointing. Maybe I'm just a little more disappointed by it than I was fearing. It just didn't work for me. So the action scenes are fun. The third act is great, and some of the performances are really good. But again, I didn't really care for some of the other actors. The pacing is a little bit off. I don't think it's as fun as it should be. And again, I feel like they should have at least tied up the subplots in some way. Otherwise, this is just kind of a plain PLAIN movie than anything else. So plain, I will give it 2 out of 4 stars. Stream it. So, who's your favorite action hero? Comment down below, subscribe to the channel. This is Pat. Stay safe.